Facebook was created in February 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg along with Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCollum, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes while they were students at Harvard University. And the original product was called The Facebook, and it was designed as a private online directory only for Harvard students using .edu email addresses and real identities, which immediately made it different from existing platforms like MySpace and Friendster that allowed fake names and anonymous profiles. And within 1 month, more than 50% of Harvard students had signed up, which showed extremely strong early adoption. And in late 2004, Facebook expanded to other Ivy League universities and then major US colleges. And by the end of 2004, it had around 1 million users. And in 2005, Facebook expanded again to high schools and international universities. And that year, Axel Partners invested $12.7 million, valuing Facebook at roughly $100 million, which was considered risky at the time because Facebook still had no clear revenue model. And in 2006, Facebook opened registration to the general public and launched the news feed, which caused massive backlash from users. But usage data showed people were spending more time on the platform, which is why Facebook kept it. And this marked the shift from a simple profile directory to an attention-based platform. And in 2007, Microsoft invested $240 million for a 1.6% stake, valuing Facebook at approximately $150 billion, which was shocking because the company was less than 4 years old and still unprofitable. And by 2008, Facebook crossed 100 million users globally and started building its advertising system based on user behavior, interests, and social connections, rather than just content keywords. And this system later became the core of Facebook's business. And in 2012, Facebook went public with an IPO, valuing the company at around $104 billion, making it one of the largest tech IPOs in history. And at that time, Facebook had about 1 billion users worldwide and generated around $5 billion in annual revenue, mostly from advertising. And between 2012 and 2018, Facebook experienced massive growth by acquiring Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion and WhatsApp in 2014 for $19 billion, which helped it dominate social media globally. And by 2018, Facebook's market value peaked at around $630 billion, and its parent company, later renamed Meta, reached a market capitalization of nearly $1 trillion in 2021, driven by pandemic-era digital advertising growth. But this is where serious problems began, because Facebook faced increasing regulatory pressure, data privacy scandals, including Cambridge Analytica in 2018, accusations of misinformation, election interference, and declining trust, especially among younger users. And in 2022, Meta's stock collapsed by over 70% from its peak, wiping out more than $600 billion in market value within 1 year due to slowing user growth, rising competition from TikTok, reduced ad efficiency, and heavy spending on the metaverse, which lost over $13 billion in a single year. And as of 2025, Meta's market value has partially recovered and fluctuates around the $900 to $1 trillion range, depending on market conditions, driven mainly by AI investment and advertising recovery. But Facebook as a platform itself is no longer the growth engine it once was, because user growth is flat in developed markets. Younger audiences prefer short-form video platforms, and engagement has shifted away from social sharing toward passive consumption. And the key lesson here is that Facebook was built by focusing on real identity, network effects, and attention monetization, and it grew by turning social connections into an advertising machine. But it declined in influence because cultural behavior moved faster than the platform could adapt, and market value reflects expectations, not history, which is why Facebook could be worth nearly $1 trillion at its peak, lose more than half of that value, and then partially recover again. And the real question now is not whether Facebook was successful, but whether any platform built on attention and data can remain dominant once user behavior changes faster than corporate structure can respond. One important part most people don't talk about is what Facebook actually sells, because users think Facebook sells ads, but in reality, Facebook sells prediction. And this distinction matters because Facebook's entire system is built to predict what you will do next, not what you say you like, but what your behavior shows, when you pause, when you scroll, when you ignore something, and when you react. And this is why advertisers trust Facebook more than traditional media, because it doesn't guess interest, it measures it. And this also explains why privacy scandals hurt Facebook more than any other tech company, because when prediction accuracy drops, ad prices drop and revenue follows. Another overlooked factor is cost structure. Facebook looks like a digital company, but it runs like heavy infrastructure because it spends tens of billions every year on data centers, servers, content moderation, and AI systems. And when growth slows, those fixed costs don't disappear, which is why Meta's profit margins shrank sharply after 2021 and forced layoffs even though revenue was still massive. And this leads to a question people argue about in comments all the time, whether Facebook is dying or just maturing. And the data shows it's not dying, but it's aging, because daily active users are stable but not accelerating, and younger users treat Facebook as a utility, not a social space, which changes how valuable attention on the platform actually is. And then there's regulation, which is a slow pressure, not a sudden collapse. Governments now limit data tracking, demand transparency, and threaten fines and breakups. And this doesn't destroy Facebook overnight, but it compresses its future upside, and market value is based on future expectations, not past dominance, which is why the stock reacts so strongly to small changes in growth numbers. And finally, here's the part worth debating. If Facebook were launched today with the same idea, same features, and same rules, it would likely fail because the environment has changed. Distribution costs are higher, attention is fragmented, and users are more skeptical, which means Facebook's success was not just about execution, but about timing. And that raises a useful question for anyone watching. Is Facebook still powerful because it's the best product, or because leaving it is still socially expensive? And if that cost ever disappears, what happens to the company's value?